Bitcoin has just closed the CME gap. This is the point in price action where we look for potential trend reversals from this point onwards after Bitcoin spiked to the high, took out a liquidation zone, and so far we've seen a little run to the downside, of course, on very small time frames. So in this video, I'm going to be taking you through what we're doing right now, whether or not we're going to get that reversal in the UK and the US session to follow. So I'm going to try and be as fast as possible because this video needs to go out before any trade opportunity presents. So let's get right into it. Whilst I'm flicking to the chart, you can smash the like button and hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed. So this is Bitcoin on the 15-minute time frame, and you can see here this was a price action idea that I had actually put out to my Discord this morning. You can see here in my chart update last night when we were looking for the false move week beginning that I pointed out that there was a liquidation level here at around the $52,070 mark that was pointing to this orange line right here, and that is where price spiked into to form the false move before the one-day trend. What followed that was the M formation. If you wanted to actually trade this, that was your trigger there on the second peak of the M formation. Following that spike, I then did another update, and you can see right here that this was the price action that I was waiting to see if it would play out. This was during the Asia session, and I was hoping for further drops down into the US closing candle. Now, why is the US closing candle important? Because that very last candle at the end of US on Friday is what forms the gap over the weekend. So if price moves away from it, as we can see happened this weekend, then there is a gap between where we open the market and where we close on that Friday US candle. Now, usually at some point during the week when the market reopens after 5 p.m. New York, we will revisit that area, and that's just to close the gap. Now, we can do that at any time. So once we've identified the trend that is happening after the false move week beginning, we want to identify where that US closing candle is, because that's going to give us an idea of whether or not it has been closed. And we can see here that where the price is currently, it has returned to that candle. So the CME gap is now closed and price action is free to do whatever it wants. We're currently in the UK session, and with 3 minutes to go on this candle, this is a potential reversal candlestick pattern right here, a bit of a star formation depending on how it closes. So this could be the first side of a trend reversal. However, there's two things that could happen from here if we're going to reverse. This will form the first side of a W formation. What we would be waiting for to get an idea of a reversal from here is the second side of a W formation. Actually, now that I say this, there's multiple options, but let's go through the W's first. The two options with the W is that it actually ends up becoming a single session W. They're not my preferred trade setups. I'm going to be honest, I don't have a high strike rate with single session W's, and a single session W is where both peaks, so the first peak of the W and the second peak of the W here, forms within the same session. So in this case, it would be the UK session. They can play out, but like I said, it's just a personal trading thing. You shouldn't discount it just because I do. They might work for you and just not work for me. So that is one thing to look out for. The ideal and higher probable trade is going to be if the second peak forms in the US session. If that happens instead, then we will have a confirmed W formation, and that will tell us that this move to the downside was the false move week beginning, and it's over now. We should head up for the next 3 days. So of course, if none of that happens, then obviously the false move is not over yet, and currently Bitcoin is just retracing to the 50 EMA for potentially this one more drop to the downside that could just come back again to the US closing candle. However, if it decides to go a little bit further, then we're looking down into this zone here where the last traders were trapped at around 50,675. Let's have a look at the heat maps to see what's going on there. We can see that we do have some high level orders here at 50,200. That's people hoping for a little bit further downside. We don't really have any aggressive shorts above price. So that's actually positive for this idea that we may get a W formation in some later sessions today. And because we have this current green candle, this one here, it's actually white on my chart, but on a normal chart, it would be green. We actually want to see where where the more aggressive traders are in that current candle. Now, to the bottom of that candle, we can see that the more aggressive traders are actually the buyers in this candle, and that's because the numbers on the green side are significantly larger than the numbers on the red side. If we have a look at this one that closed as a doji, also the same thing. So that usually is a good sign of where the support is going to be in and we'll get a pivot. We need to make sure the follow through after this green candle remains, but so far it's kind of looking so good, to be honest with you. Now, just a reminder guys, if you want these chart updates, there's a couple of things you can do. You can either join us at TTC, the link is down below, and you can choose a membership that not only gives you all of our chart updates, we actually do multiple chart updates per day. There's a whole team in there letting you know session by session what we believe is going to happen. And in addition to that, you get access to all of our educational material as well. And in those memberships, you get access to all of our courses. So absolute beginner course, which is the Zero to Crypto. We also have many trading courses if you choose the first class membership. And if you choose Capital Club, you get all these trading courses. But in addition to that, you also get our investing courses as well. We do live sessions multiple times per day, talking about price action and multiple chart updates as well. So the only way to get absolute full access to this is to come and join us inside of Trade Travel Chill. The link to our website is down below. But another option that you have as well, if you just want some limited chart updates, is to use one of the exchange links listed down below, and that will get you access as well to the free portion of our Discord, where there's not as many chart updates, but it is the way to get access to this before it ends up on our public social media. So check those out if you're interested in that. And I want to have a quick look at Ethereum now as well. With Ethereum, there was a couple of things that I had warned the community to watch, and that was that we had our 3 hits to the high of the week. Well, at the time we had only had 2 when I gave this warning, and I said, see what happens here in this circle. In this circle, we didn't get an actual touch to the high of the week, but we got a lower high. So that is definitely a bearish signal there. And essentially you could probably say that that also just caused a head and shoulder, 15-minute time frame head and shoulder, which has already played out now. So broken down below the 50 EMA, we also broke and retested the 50% of the Asia area. All of these things are triggers for us in this method that price is going down. And now we just need to see where Ethereum might settle from here. Where the price is currently doesn't make sense to me for it to end up being support. And the reason for that is if I look left on this cluster of candles here, I don't see any vector candles. I don't see a strong support. I don't really see a reason why price should stop here. The only thing we have to go on if price does stop here is the fact that it held the 200 EMA and gave us a bullish looking candlestick structure. So that is one positive. If it stays above the 200 EMA, then again, you're just going to be looking for the same potential W formation, whether it be a single session or a multi-session. The other thing I'm going to say, I actually forgot to say this on Bitcoin, but just keep an eye out. You may get a formation like this where it's not an actual W, but it is another reversal formation where you get this initial candlestick formation here that is some kind of bullish indicator, you know, whether it's the star formation like this, or it's just a bullish engulfing, or a railroad track, or a hammer, something like that. You get that initially, but then price just consolidates rather than coming back for a retracement for a second side of a W. It just consolidates and goes sideways. And at the time, whilst it's doing that, the 200 EMA will flatten out as well. And what will end up happening is that as price is consolidating, it just holds the 200 EMA. So if something like that happens, that could also be a more difficult signal that we're going to reverse and head further to the upside, and that this false move for the beginning of the week, it's over with. They're harder to catch. They're more of like a trust in the EMA. But, you know, I just wanted to put that out as a second possibility because that may happen as well. And the bearish for this one, look, with this, we do have a drop down, a break of the 50 EMA with a red vector candle. We have a lower high. We have another drop. So you do need to keep an eye out that it may come up for a retracement now, back to retest the 50 EMA. Even the initial low of the day, the initial low of the day is sitting at 3,087 currently. So if price only comes up to there, that's going to be the initial low of the day plus the 50 EMA kind of region, and if it starts to look weak around there, then it could be heading down with further moves to downside. And I would definitely be open to that on Ethereum, because like I said, where this has settled, other than the 200 EMA, looking left, there is nothing left. So really what you're looking for right now is the speed in the candles. I love the speed currently. Like, I love when you have this reversal formation and then the candle that follows it keeps moving to the upside. That's usually a positive for me. There's still 7 minutes to go, of course, anything can happen. But if this momentum maintains, then I would expect that it's going to break back above the 50 EMA. But it's essential to watch what happens there on both of them. It's essential to watch what happens. If there's no signs of weakness, then simple, you're looking for either this consolidation or a higher low to eventually form, and there's your trigger to take your trade. All right, those are your triggers. That's what's to look out for. No excuses now. You know what to do. You should be able to get one of these trades within the next few hours. And if you love updates like that, be sure to smash a like button, hit subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Consider joining us over at TTC, or at the very least, use one of those exchange links so you can get in and get some of our charting updates in the private community. I'll see you guys on the next one.